So you are new to Azure Standard and you have some questions about how the process works. Well, you're in the right place. Today we're going to cover things such as, can I change drop locations? Does Azure Standard have a house brand? And what happens if you order an item that happens to be out of stock?
Make sure to stay till the end because we're going to share more tips on how to save money on your orders. Does Azure Standard have good customer support?
Azure Standard has phenomenal customer service.
Thank you.
And I am very picky when it comes to customer service. I have very high standards.
He does.
Azure Standard offers many different ways that you can contact them. They have an online form, mail, fax, and the thing that I like most of all is that they display their customer service number prominently on their website. You don't have to dig around and find it. If you need to call Azure, you can find it very easily. Azure Standard will even respond to you via text message. I've had some family members recently share some screenshots with me of some correspondences that they've had with Azure Standard as they work to get one of their orders corrected.
We've occasionally received incorrect items, spoiled produce, or damaged goods. Each time we've reached out to Azure, they've immediately refunded that item, no questions asked. The best part is, they also apologize for their wrongdoing. I feel like that's rare to find with a company nowadays.
Yeah, they don't act like it's your fault if something has gone wrong, and it just feels like Azure Standard wants you to be happy, and to me, that's mark of good customer service.
Yes.
So how long does it take to pick up your items from a drop location? Because shopping with Azure Standard is a little bit different than just getting in your car and going to the grocery store.
This will vary on the logistical capabilities of each drop location and the number of customers who are picking up at that delivery.
Most drop coordinators have the pickup process down to a science, and they have procedures in place to make it a fast and efficient process for everyone.
After the truck arrives, it typically takes 10 to 15 minutes to unload and sort through everyone's orders.
Now, Azure schedules their delivery drivers expecting that they will spend on average about 30 minutes at each drop location, and that seems to be our experience. Now that might seem like a long time, but the process in its entirety is still going to be much faster than the time you would have spent buying those items and checking out, loading your car at a typical grocery store.
Totally. Does Azure Standard have a house brand?
While Azure Standard does offer many brands that you may recognize from other whole food retailers, they also have their own house brand, which simply has Azure in the name. They don't hide behind some other name like some other retailers do, so if you see Azure in the name on their website, that's their house brand, and it's really good.
Like many other house brands, the Azure brand is often the cheapest option, but unlike other house brands, the Azure house brand is phenomenal quality.
We've never been disappointed by any of the Azure brands that we have purchased, whether it's their food or their home products.
Yep, great quality with all of it.
So if you've watched any videos about Azure Standard, you may have heard it pronounced different ways. So what is the proper way to say Azure?
Well, some people say Azure, some people say Azure. Per their own marketing videos on their website, they seem to say Azure. I don't think they really care how you say it as long as you're happy with their products.
I also think it depends on your level of fanciness. So I think we're more of the common folk, but if you find yourself to be a bit more of the fancy variety, feel free to say Azure.
It does sound fancier that way.
It does.
Can I change drop locations?
Yes, you are not tied to a specific drop location. You can change locations, and you can also be a member of multiple locations. If you're not happy with your current drop, or maybe your situation for this next pickup's just going to be a little bit different, you can go to Azure's website, use that same interactive map, and find another drop location to use. Just make sure that you select the correct drop location for your next order.
If you are selecting a new drop location that you haven't been to before, make sure to check the notes and reach out to the drop coordinator because some accommodations and processes might be different than your previous drop locations.
So is there a deadline for placing your order each month?
There is. When you are signed into the website and signed into your account, there will be a live ticker at the top of the screen counting down until you need to place that order so you don't miss it.
And when you've got about a day left, this is usually when your spouse is going to come to you and say, is there anything else you need to place on your order? And you'll quickly see that bill start to skyrocket.
Oh, okay. We also put a reminder on our calendar about an hour before the cutoff time ends. Just that way we really make sure we do not miss our order, because if you miss it, you miss it and you don't get to order for that month. Can I edit my cart after I've checked out?
You can, and Azure Standard's cart is a little bit unique when compared to some other websites. So you can continue to add items to your cart just like any other website up until the point that you check out. You will not actually be charged for those items until after the cutoff date and your order is finalized. But before that cutoff date happens, even if you've already checked out, you can continue to add and remove items from your cart. your order will not be finalized until you've reached that cutoff time.
We'll often check out early, so we hopefully don't forget to check out, and then just edit our order until the cutoff time.
So what happens if I end up ordering an item that ends up being out of stock? Am I gonna be charged for it because it was in my cart?
No. A few days after your cutoff date, you will get an email that your items have shipped, and then you will get another email that is a final itemized bill. If you had items in your cart that you ordered that are out of stock and did not ship, you're not going to be charged for them. If I check out with items in my cart, does that guarantee that they will be shipped in my order?
No. Azure's inventory management system is based on what is in stock on the day that your order is actually shipped, which is a few days after your cutoff date. Now, Azure Standard tries to help with this by showing you current stock when you're shopping for items online, and their system will also try to predict if items will be in stock or restocked by the time that your order ships. These out of stock items can be really frustrating, but Azure Standard is actually a pretty small company that has exploded with popularity lately. They are constantly working to keep stock up while continuing to keep their prices as low as possible. So will Azure Standard allow me to add low inventory or out of stock items to my cart?
Yes. A lot of the time I will still add out of stock items into our cart, even if it says it will be arriving after our current order we're placing is shipped, because usually those items come in before that date and we end up getting them anyways.
And there's no harm in doing this because you're only going to be charged for items that end up being shipped in your order. So if you really want something and it's out of stock, add it to your cart anyway.
Yeah. Does Azure Standard have any good sales?
They do. Azure Standard constantly has items on sale, both for their house brands as well as many of the other products that they sell. It's featured prominently on their website, and I recommend checking this often. As we've talked about, buying in bulk with Azure Standard, you can save quite a bit of money. So if you see a household staple go on sale, you might want to consider ordering a large quantity and getting those savings while you can.
Also, with every order that you get from Azure Standard, you will receive a sales flyer for the following month that lists every single thing that's going to be on sale.
So does Azure Standard offer a points or a perk system?
They do. They have Azure Cash. Every product you purchase from Azure Standard will get you a 1% to 2% reward, and then some items even are listed as bonus Azure Cash, which will get you an even bigger reward. After your order ships, you receive your reward in Azure Cash, and on your next order, you can go ahead and use it. In addition to the Azure Cash, they also offer a referral program. When you sign up with a new account, you will immediately be given a link that you can share with friends and family.
Our referral link is listed down in the description of this video, and if you're considering signing up with Azure Standard, we ask that you please use our link. How it works is that after you sign up and spend at least $100, we get a $25 credit with Azure, and you will have the same opportunity to also share that referral link with friends and family and help take some of the sting out of your grocery bill.
Leave us a comment down below if you still have a question that wasn't answered, and we may feature it in a future video.
In the meantime, be sure to check out this video if you'd like to learn more about Azure Standard, or check out this other video if you'd like to learn what a typical Azure order looks like.
Thank you for watching, and remember to live free and find your purpose.